Oh my goodness. The first episode of season 9, episode 81, and it's John's birthday, or was yesterday.
Well, by the time this gets released, it'll be next one.
And how old will you be in next year?
35.
Oh my, that's weird. You're going backwards. Kind of
That's the Jack Benny joke.
Oh, okay.
He was always 35.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going backwards, like in Mark and Mindy or something.
No.
Jonathan Winters showed up as an old baby.
That's right. That was the little gag there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he said, I'll be on the show, Robin, but I want to wear a diaper.
I can imagine that conversation.
Or maybe at that point he had to. I don't think he was that old, though. Okay, I'm sorry. This is... Where are we going
81.
with that? That's terrible. People don't want to hear that.
Wrong. Jonathan Winters sold his Mark and Mindy diapers for $170,000 on eBay. Maybe. You're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song. Episode 81, John and Phil are going to have a beverage and talk and sing a song.
It's your birthday. What did you do for your birthday?
Oh, not much.
Did you have some fun?
I worked.
No. Yeah, people are like, oh, you're taking your birthday off? And I'm like, no, I don't need to do that anymore.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make it such a to-do. Yeah, went out to dinner, bought myself a bottle of scotch. The same thing I do every day.
Every day?
No, just kidding. I bet if you listen to this show enough, you think that.
Right. John's got 3,000 bottles.
The Ralphie vault, a giant closet full of expensive scotch.
Yeah, you need a vault. Although one of our special guests, friends of the show, has a vault, doesn't he? Chris.
Chris H. Yes.
Yeah.
Chris probably does actually have a vault.
Maybe he has more like some kind of machine. A safe? No, I don't know.
Yeah, he ought to.
I think he sent us a picture of what he has. It's not like a refrigerator, of course, but it's some kind of contained thing. Mm-hmm. I think you talked about the nitrogen he stuff or whatever.
He does the argon gas.
Argon.
Thing.
Yeah, I get my
wine
gases.
saver. I've tried it, and I'm just either I don't care enough or I'm too lazy. Same difference. Yeah. I haven't really followed through and done it. So
I get the impression that Chris H is not as lazy as you and I are. From his lawn and everything else.
No, he has quite the lawn.
Who is? Oh, all those Democrats. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, that's the. And talking about politics is always a bad idea on a podcast, unless that's your topic. But especially on ours, because A, nobody gives a shit, and B, it's just so untimely by the time the episode comes out that, like, what? What are you talking about? I've forgotten all about whatever that was that you said.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Americans' memory is really fickle.
That of a gnat.
The midterms will be long over by the time this comes out.
The relevant part, since it's all about me, is that Election Day often falls right around or shortly after or around my birthday.
Yeah.
And this year it wasn't too bad, mostly because I was expecting the worst and things came out, reasonably well. Unless you live in South Dakota, and that's always the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, exactly. But the way it's kind of how kids who have their birthdays like right around Christmas or shortly after. How
mine's not too far from that.
Yeah, you're almost in that zone, but
no.
But like, let's say my birthday is on Boxing Day or something like that, and you're just you feel like you're getting ripped off. You don't get as many presents and all that stuff.
My dad would get socks on his birthday.
Yeah. That's so I have the adult version of that.
Ooh, it's naughty. No, I'm kidding.
It's just like, oh, happy birthday. Here's some depressing election results that you get to remember from the previous day.
But it wasn't as bad as anyone was expecting. As
no.
If you're blue, there was no big red wave.
Nope.
And Minnesota, hey, we might actually be. Well, here we're talking about politics.
Yeah,
Minnesota might actually be able to legalize weed and do some other fun things.
You know, it's very possible. So our state government, for the first time in quite a while, is now all
10 years.
Democratic controlled.
Yeah, boy,
By very like everywhere, it's by very small amounts.
They better not screw it up.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see.
Tim Walz was endorsed by Jesse Ventura, which is Jesse Ventura does not endorse major party candidates. He's a third party guy.
I don't know if it made any difference, but it was unusual.
It was unusual. Well, yeah, I don't know if it made a difference. Maybe he got 3 more listeners or something like when we have. No, never mind. But we should have Jesse Ventura on, and then we'd skyrocket. No, we've got, actually our last episode got a pretty good bump there from the David Daniels effect. But anyway, so
that was as much as we can get to a blockbuster.
I think so. It still isn't up there with Space Poop, the David D episode. I don't know what
we should have. I mean, I thought the title was spot on for the episode, but really, poop should have been in the title.
I just don't know. Well, no, I don't want to put that on a David Daniels episode.
Well, you have to use that one very sparingly.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a poop episode coming up. Maybe eventually John and I will get old enough where that's what we'll be talking about on podcast.
Oh yeah, let's be a whole episode about poop.
Our bowel movements. I haven't gotten there yet.
I can't wait. Literally.
Time to dump. Well, I was going to say, supposedly, Jesse Ventura and Tim Walz might work on some things together to get some things.
Yeah, like a song? like we all did?
You know, that reminds me, there was a World Wrestling song that Jesse Ventura was in, I think. What was that called? There was wasn't there in the 80s or something, a music video with the wrestlers and they were sort of, whatever. That's neither here nor there.
We'll have to dig that up or
maybe not. I don't think it was very good.
Well, that's okay.
I don't know if it was bad enough to be good either, though.
Yeah. And speaking of weed, of course, our home state defeated legal weed after approving it the last time.
I don't know how did that happen?
I just got to think that it got bad-mouthed enough by the Republicans that they killed it. Cottonmouthed. Yeah.
Oh, it'll pass eventually.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, but it's going to be more old voters need to die off.
Well, I also I don't know where.
I think it became more of they made it a partisan thing, and it's like, well, that's a liberal issue. I better not vote for it.
The crime thing. It's it's a libertarian kind of thing, though, and I know there are libertarians in South Dakota. There have to, especially in the West.
Vote this time, I don't know.
The libertarian candidate got like 5% or something. So.
No, it's almost that's about what the Democrat got.
No,
it's
he got 31 or something.
Noam got 60%, which that's a lot. But
she's going to run against DeSantis.
Well, I'm sure she's going to be.
Wow, maybe she'll be his vice president.
No, I'm pretty sure that. Well, I don't know. I was going to say that Carrie Lake, awful person in Arizona, is going to do it, but no, that's the one Trump will pick up as the VP. Yeah,
I don't see. I don't know.
Or maybe Lauren Boebert will need a job if we're lucky. That's still
amazingly close.
Amazingly close. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but what would be hilarious to me, and again, by the time this comes out, or maybe by the time I get around to editing it, this will all be like I'll just roll my eyes at what I'm currently saying. But
I know,
but what occurred to me would be just hilarious. So the House representative totals are very, very close right now.
Yeah.
And what would be hilarious is if the Republicans failed to get the majority because of Lauren Boebert.
No.
If that was the reason,
I think
that would just crack me up. I would just love that so much.
I think their chances are better than that, but
they are, and it won't.
I think there's
come
like
down to
11
one,
seats
probably.
or something. I don't know.
But wouldn't it be just
that would be
if she's the one that kept them from getting it?
I would buy a bottle of scotch.
Well, you should anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'd buy 2 that day.
Anyway, that's okay. Enough.
Speaking of scotch and drinking.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I just had some more of this. I don't know how to pronounce it. Opidon, Smoke and Sea. It's put out by the. Let's see. It's a straight bourbon whiskey I've talked about before, and it's finished in French oak and Islay Scotch barrels. And this was batch number 43. And oh boy.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that stuff.
Well, I was. It's made from grain, it says. That's nice.
As opposed to
poop.
Yeah, it's all, well, whatever.
Okay.
I'm
grain.
Go ahead.
That's weird. I could look it up, I guess, if I Google it. I'm trying to.
Well, isn't this bourbon?
Opidon Spirits. Straight bourbon whiskey. Yep.
Yeah, so it's more than half corn, but
Sure.
corn is a grain.
That's right. I guess so. I always think of corn as its own kind of special thing. It's its own group. But I don't know. It's okay today, but lately when I've had it, it tastes a little. I don't know. The smoke and the sweet aren't quite pairing right for me lately. My taste buds. Today is okay though, so I don't know. It's in my head. Different things can affect your taste buds. I'll be switching to Evan Williams again, the old standby black label. But what about you? Are you trying your birthday scotch?
Oh, I did buy myself a bottle, but no, I haven't opened it yet.
No, okay. You're waiting until I come over. That's fine.
I don't know, or I'll take it out with me to Christine Homeland.
Are you going out again soon?
Well, during Christmas time, we'll go for a few days.
Nice. That's nice.
Yep, gotta visit the families.
Yeah.
The 5 families.
The 5 families of the music mafia, the Knowles Mafia.
This Christmas, I'm settling all family business.
I woke up next to a horse head.
That's right.
Is there like a horse head whiskey? No. Okay. Well, never mind.
I bet there will be. I don't know. I mean, just about everything. There's pig's nose. Why not horse head?
No. There you go.
Today I am drinking this stuff made from grains. No, this is a scotch. It is Kirkland's Signature, aka it's not Scotch by, but Costco's house brand of Isla single malt scotch.
Oh, I always say that name Isla wrong.
Yeah,
when
you read it, you really feel like you don't want to say it that way, but
Isla.
Yeah,
no, you didn't correct me though. How am I going to learn?
That's a dick move.
Yeah, I know.
I really try not to do that.
You're whiskey-splaining.
Whiskey-splaining, yep. Scotchsplain. There you go. There's a title. Scotchsplaining.
Hey, I like it.
That's not bad. I might go with it.
Well, yeah.
This is their. It has no age statement. It is an Isla single malt scotch. So it is from one of the, 4 or 5 different distilleries that are on that island.
Well.
So everybody, of course, if you go and search like people discussing this one, of course we don't know where it came from, like all of them. So it there's lots of speculation about who it's from. The one that is most likely is this one called Col Ila. I can't remember how to spell it, but I think the first word is CAOL.
It's probably not spelled anything like it's pronounced.
It's very different, yeah. And that's the reason why people think it's that one is because this particular distillery makes a lot of scotch every year, but they don't sell a lot of it under their own name. They like sell it to other companies to put in blends, or these independent bottlers who sell stuff under their own name, but they say it's from Colila Distillery, blah blah blah.
Okay.
That's the most likely, although other people think it doesn't taste quite the same, so it could be from one of the other ones. But it's definitely not a Lafroig. That's one of the other Isla ones.
No.
It doesn't taste like Lafroig.
No.
And it doesn't really taste like Lagavulin either, which makes sense. Lagavulin does not usually sell a lot of their stuff to other companies.
Yeah.
And Costco sells a ton of whiskey. And this was also I think it was like $35 or something. It's very cheap for anything with peat in it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty young, but it's also 50% strength, which is pretty darn good.
Yikes.
And it's tasty. It's kind of got, it doesn't have that over the top Ardbeg or Lafroig thing going on, but it's very pleasant. It's not super sweet. It's kind of just a middle of the road peated Scotch, and again, it's just great for what it costs. I wish I could find more of it. I saw it there one time, and I tried it, and if I see it again, I'm going to buy more.
Oh, okay. What was it again?
It's Kirkland Signature, aka Costco. It's just called Isla Single Malt Scotch.
Okay.
It doesn't have an age statement. I think the label is very nondescript. It's kind of beige looking.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I saw it just one time. I know it. People have, if you go on one of the places I go to read people's opinions, besides like the whiskey review websites and like places like Ralphie and all that stuff, is Reddit actually.
What? Okay.
They have a very active whiskey subreddits, I guess they call them.
I haven't been on Reddit much.
I mostly end up there because I see, if I do searches, I end up seeing a lot of action on there. But it's that they have a very active Scotch community, and some that people review stuff on Reddit all the time, like different whiskeys.
Oh, okay.
Bourbons and everything else. So it can be a good resource. Again, you don't know who all these people are, but some of them really seem to know what they're doing.
You can look at them in aggregate or something.
Pretty much. And the thing is, there's lots of, of course, anybody can comment and all that stuff, but it seems, surprisingly clear of assholes and spam stuff and all that. So, but a lot of people on Reddit thought this stuff was good too, and that's, but besides saying it's decent Scotch, they also people have found it in other parts of the country, so it's definitely out there. I'd say if you like peaty Scotch and you see this anywhere near its $35 to $40, it's a steal.
So okay, here's a Costco question: why is it called Kirkland? Is the name of the owner Kirk? James
Captain
Kirk?
No, it's not a Star Trek. No, I think it's named for the town or county that their headquarters is in.
Oh, which may be called Kirkland.
Yeah, it is.
Which was named after James T. Kirk. Okay,
exactly.
So we figured
like
that
all
out.
Things Kirk. Kirk Douglas was named after James T. because he's a time traveler. Amazing. Man. Yeah, so you learn something stupid every day here.
When is Picard season 4 coming out? Has that been announced?
Wait, has season 3 already come and gone?
Sorry, maybe I mean season 3.
Well, I think there's going to be a season 4. But season 3
I watched season 3.
I think season 3, if whatever the next one is, I think sometime after the first of the year.
Okay, so I'm in Bizarro world. I swear I watched season 3 already.
Well,
I might not have. I can't trust my
memory. I could have
memory.
sworn I've only seen 2 seasons of it, but I might be. God, there's so many shows.
I
can't keep track.
I'm not going to Google it.
No, nobody cares.
I thought the new one was coming up. Okay, fine.
So, when we were getting our setup tonight, I was logging. We use Skype to do our live talk here.
Yeah,
and
it's different.
Because I use it so infrequently, it of course makes you log out and verify your account and all that.
Oh, jazz. Yeah. It probably took me like 15 minutes today.
But it made me do like a code.
Yeah.
A lot of them do, and it sent me the code, and the code was like 3481234 or something like that.
Well, you
7-digit.
You shouldn't say that on there. Yeah, it was 7 digits instead of 6.
It's no good anymore though. So.
Oh, okay, fine.
And who would care? The thing that occurred to me is like, that's interesting, and I know the two things popped up. One is, I think these codes are put in different numbers that are easier to remember. So 7 digits,
some kind of pattern.
Like phone numbers,
yeah,
are very easy to remember. And how that sounds like a rapid city, like 348.
Yeah,
8271 or something like that.
Did you call it?
I should call it. No,
but now we have to do you added to the area code too.
Well, there's still only one.
Wait, should I try to call it on live? Hold on.
I don't know, Phil.
The
thing is, I don't know what it is anymore.
This might be terrible. Okay, never mind. I won't do it. I was just curious.
No, that would have been
I dropped my phone.
Missed opportunity.
I'm gonna crack it again.
No,
we're not that kind of podcast.
Anyway,
we're we're gonna call somebody. Well, maybe in this season we will be.
It's how though it reminds me of that thing that a lot of us older people do, is that we remember phone numbers from decades ago.
Oh yeah, I remember mine.
I don't remember anybody's current one.
No. Well, you just click it. You just hit a button with their picture or something.
Yeah, and you hope that the number is correct in your phone or contact list or whatever you're doing. And but you used to. It was kind of a necessity to memorize phone numbers, at least a few. And
maybe we should still, because what if?
It's a life skill, right?
What if it wasn't working? What if your cell phone wasn't working and I had to call in an emergency somebody? I don't know. Weird.
Yeah. How would you find anybody?
We wouldn't find anybody. Well, Lee and I went on a little tiny road trip to visit a couple of college friends that we hadn't seen for over 30 years in Becker, Minnesota, of all places. And we were talking about, kind of how because I printed out a Google map. Well, then I left it on the counter, of course. But he used his phone to help us figure out how to get there. But we were kind of talking about...
I thought you had a phone.
I do, but I didn't want to deal with it. I haven't... It's a fairly new phone, and I haven't figured out how to do the navigation thing while I'm driving. I don't want to mess with it. But anyway,
Grandpa, keep going.
Yeah, I know. I had a navigator. It was fine. And we were talking about that, because how did we get to places before? You'd get directions, and you'd kind of remember them or something. Of course, Lee and Rob or whatever would get lost maybe, but even then.
Well,
we have maps.
There's 3 phases. There's the before times where you kind of had to have an old fashioned map.
Yeah.
Or just wander around and hope that you had the address right until you found it. Or maybe if you're lucky, if you're in a city, it's laid out like a grid and the numbers line up and all that stuff, and you could determine it that way.
Sure.
Ask for directions. I don't know.
Which guys don't like to do.
So that was the ancient times, and then there's that weird in between time where people had internet maps, but nobody had smartphones yet or mobile data to call them up live while you're in a car.
Right. So I'd print them out.
You would go to a MapQuest or one of those old timey ones, or that was before Google Maps existed, and you'd print out the directions and the map.
Oh. Yeah.
And then you would take that with you or leave it at home.
I do still print out the directions sometimes.
Killing trees, man.
But not the map.
But yeah, you do that and you take that with you, and it seemed so cool that I can print these directions and maps off the internet, and then you take it with you, and then all of a sudden you not only have you've got your phone, and the thing that you get into the habit of now is just, well, if you're, I don't want to get into one of those youngster rants, but they will now, no matter where they're going, even if they should know where they are, they just put it in Google anyway, and follow its directions.
Yeah.
And I think that you don't learn where things are as well if you do that.
Yeah, because where you kind of fit into your surroundings exactly.
Yeah, and where all the major, if you're in a metro area, where all the highways go, and
I
the
would
general
always
sense of where things are.
Yeah, I would. I'd know landmarks and stuff, and I'd drive toward. That's what I would do. Yeah, I had landmarks, and I'd drive towards that and figure it out.
Different skill sets to do that, but really, yeah. But you know what? I still use it a lot when I especially going to gigs and stuff. Even though if I know how to get there, I still do it because it will tell me how the traffic is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And will tell me, reroute. It'll reroute me to something better if there's like a crash on one of the roads or whatever. And I do find that useful.
I need to figure it out. I should almost drive with you or ride with you sometime and just see how you're doing it. Because how do you? Well, so you just set your phone up and it talks to you. I sound like
So what I do
I sound like an old person.
Yeah. Well, you do this email and I type on this thing.
All of our listeners already know this, so this isn't going to help anybody but me.
No. Here's what I do. I get I get in the car. Before I pull out of the driveway, I put the place into
Siri.
Google Maps. I don't use Siri, but
shoot, my Siri just activated. Sorry.
Yeah, you got to watch that. Hey Dingus is one of somebody. I think that's a good one. No, I just put it in. I put it in Google, and of course, if I've been there before, it remembers that, which is helpful and ad creepy and all that stuff. But it and then I just start the navigation, and then I start going. And
all right.
And then usually it's like, okay, it's going to take me this highway, and it's the normal thing. But sometimes. And plus, it'll give me a really pretty good estimation on how long it's going to take me.
The problem, so we have done this, like when Jody and I are driving around, and we tried that once, and for some reason it's very annoying to me because because you know how Google Maps work, they have roads that kind of don't really exist sometimes. They're like, the name of the road is like a weird, access road or something.
Definitely is not perfect. Yeah.
And it's like that isn't even listed anywhere. It just gets kind of annoying. But anyway,
what I usually do is I turn off the voice, and of course I put my phone on a mount so I can actually see it while I'm driving.
I put my phone on a mountie. No.
Yeah, and of course in one of our cars has the Apple CarPlay business where your phone takes over the whole screen.
Oh,
and that's awfully
that's
nice.
where it's going now. That'll be the next.
And you get this pretty large screen with a map on it, and that's very nice.
That'll be the next thing.
Really
actually,
like
at some point, you won't even have to. The car will just get you there.
Well, that's the.
So here's
somebody's dream.
Speaking of tech, and I'm not a tech guy, but one interesting thing, and I'm not the only one that's ever had this.
And I'm not the only one.
The only one that's had this observation. But my wife is in Uganda, and some countries have kind of skipped tech in a way. So like,
they're post-tech.
It's like they never had phones, but they
never
have cell phones. Now they have cell phones.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Or they never had like a grid, but some places have solar panels, so they kind of skipped this whole other thing that America went through, and it's really kind of interesting. Now, so she's in Uganda, and she's with her friend Harriet there, who's from there, and she got to try grasshoppers, and so she probably won't try them again, but that's fine. And other things, of course, but that was the thing that stood out the most because, hey, it's a bug. But yeah, Jody's going on quite an adventure right now.
That's very exciting.
But the communication with her is problematic because, I mean, she has her cell phone. I don't know. She may have had to get a different SIM card. I'm not sure for over there.
I was about to say, did you get one? If you're going to a place like that, either you don't want to pay what your normal carrier will charge you for roaming in those places, or it just doesn't work. In which case, I think the way people usually do that is when you get to the other country, you take the SIM card out of your phone and you buy one of those prepaid data SIM cards.
I'm under the impression she did that. She did a lot of research for this trip,
and that's what because it's pretty inexpensive, and it gives you a different phone number and all that stuff. But the thing is, you get the thing will just work on the local network, and you'd use that, and then when you leave, you take it out.
Or it's possible we're going to have an obnoxious phone bill, but whatever. But anyway, she can send a text sometimes. So basically, she's in a very rural area there, and the house doesn't have electricity and that kind of thing. Even the first night, she was in a hotel in a major city there, but even then they would still have the electricity was intermittent. It wasn't consistent.
Really, even in a city like that. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So. But so her friend Harriet's part of an agricultural thing and used to be in the government in Uganda, but that's a long story. She had to come here for a while when there was a little bit of a coup. But I'm underplaying things, but that's fine. Anyway, it's safe enough for her to go back. And she wanted to take Jody with her because Jody helped her when she first moved out here.
And Jody's not doing a coup.
The States. No.
Okay, good.
A cuckoo cachoo. No, anyway. So, but Harriet's involved with this sustainable agricultural stuff, too, that she's worked with in Haiti, and she's brought some of the people from that project in Haiti to Uganda. I'm not really sure how to pronounce the country's name, to be honest. I'll just say Uganda. But anyway, so they go to the agricultural building, which has solar panels, and Jody can charge her phone. And I keep
thinking of the state fair, the agricultural building. Did she get to these birds or no? Sorry,
she got to look at the seed art.
Yeah, there you go.
But
they probably don't do a lot of butter sculpture in Uganda.
No, I don't think so. But it would be hard to keep it cool, I think. But anyway, it's just a different. I mean, I'm getting little snippets. I'm sure I'll get more of an update when she gets home, of course. But it's been a strange experience. I've actually reverted to sending her long emails every night. I don't write. Like in the old days, we used to write letters, of course. This is another nostalgia episode.
Letters.
We used to write letters to each other, and we did do silly drawings or something, or
like when we were in college and all that.
Sure.
Yeah,
so it's almost like that. But even when the internet came, we would write long emails sometime if we weren't in the same place.
Well, because you'd have to get all your emails ready to go, and when you dial up to AOL or something.
Oh God. It's almost like that now. But okay, so I'm sending her and I don't know if she's going to be able to see the emails for a day or two, but I just send them anyway. I decided to do that every night. You get used to. I mean, even if your spouse or partner or whatever is traveling, you're used to a little bit more regular communication. And she's going to be gone. She's gone for about 2.5 weeks, and I mean, it feels like it almost seems like it takes 2 days to get there, but that isn't quite right. And back, but it's been, you have to reset your expectations a little bit. She's not going to be able to respond to me, and it's 8 hours difference. It's 8 hours later there, so it's been weird. But
that's different, yeah. But also exciting.
Yeah, she's on an adventure. She got to walk the. Oh, what's the phrase? Walk the bush? No, that's not right. Edit that out. That doesn't sound right.
She's on a walkabout. No, that's Australia.
Hold on.
Bushwhacking? No. Is it Bush at all? I don't know.
It's George Bush.
W?
Yeah, she got to hike in the bush. That's the...
Okay.
There's the phrase. I found it.
Dr. Hackenabush.
Dr. Hackenabush. Buy a duck.
There ain't no Sanity Claus. Okay.
Hey, it's almost Christmas.
It's almost Christmas.
Boy, the weather changed. Wow.
Yeah, I was out at the dog park today, and the wind, it was really cold.
It's been really windy and rainy, but still not enough to make up for our moisture deficit or whatever they call it.
Well, we went months without any rain here. That's the weird part.
They don't call it a moisture deficit, do they? Heat index?
Drought, you mean?
It felt kind of muggy today. That was weird.
Yeah, and yesterday even, too.
Yeah, November. Yeah. Muggy? Fine.
Weird.
So I'm mixing.
Do you want to talk about the cruise? What do you want to do?
I do. John went on a cruise. They're not going to talk about Tom Cruise.
I want to hear about your cruise. So, but I'm mixing Evan Williams and Apadon now. So I don't know what's going to happen.
You made a blend.
So John went on a cruise to Canada.
Yeah, to another cold place. It
was a Coldplay tour.
That would have been about right.
Oh, some of those bands do cruises. I mean, does Coldplay do a cruise?
I don't think they're at the point where they have to do a cruise. Not quite.
They wish. They wish.
Yeah. We did a cruise. It was a 7-day long Canada cruise, so on the East Coast.
Started out in Boston.
Boston, yeah, and we did there up to Bar Harbor, Maine.
Wait, so first, did you have time in Boston, or where it's that pretty quick turnaround? Okay.
It left from there, so we could have gotten there early, but we took an early flight and got on that afternoon.
Okay.
Now we didn't actually spend any. It was mostly just on and off the boat to the airport, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any time to do any Boston sightseeing.
I mean, what did you see? I mean, what were these stopovers or whatever they're called? You got to see some container?
Well, they're usually called ports of call.
Ports of call, and you got some free port there.
Yeah, I should have had some port.
At port.
That's sad, actually.
Be a port sport. You're a bad port sport.
Sport. No. That was a reach. Okay, so our first stop, we think we had, let's see, four places we stopped. The first one was in a place called Bar Harbor, Maine.
Harbor?
Yep, pretty famous place.
A Bar Harbor hopper.
Don't know why it's called that. I really didn't research these places much at all.
No, maybe the narrator will.
It's very well known though for Maine lobster, things like that. It's
yum.
The town. I think it's also called Bar Harbor. I guess I'm not sure, but it's the town where you get off the boat. And what you do there is just kind of. I mean, there's shore excursions that you can take where they drive you around. I think there was a possible whale watching thing. You could go out on another boat.
Oh, sure.
Although it was foggy and rainy that day, so we decided not to do anything like that. So we just got our umbrellas and walked around the town. And it's one of those touristy places that I kind of shuts down during the winter. That reminded me a lot of the Mackinac Island stuff. Because it was a lot of the stores were either closed for the season or were in the process of doing that.
Yeah, clearance sales.
Yep, definitely tourist clearance sales, things like that. I'm
not sure I understand.
No, I don't either.
I triggered my watch there.
I'm not sure I understand.
That's great. I'll have to leave that in. That's comedy gold when Siri talks out of turn. Damn it.
I love stuff like that, but I don't get out much.
It's
okay, Bar Harbor.
Yeah. So we walked around, looked at the place, and the scenery is just nice too because there's fishing boats all over the place and lobster traps that people who are in the tourism business go out and catch lobster.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something for, you get bored.
And we went into, we found a place that looked good, that had a lot of seafood, and we had, I think we already covered that, but we had some really good local seafood.
Yeah.
And that was great. And just kind of looked in the shops, walked around the streets, and a nice little place.
Was that the shipping container one, though?
No, that's
no. Okay, sorry. Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So far already, we've had a trigger alert and a spoiler alert.
Yeah. The next, I believe it was the next day, we started the Canada portion, and that was in it's a town called St. John.
Oh, there's the song title.
That's right. A town called St. John.
Oh, it's going to be about you. It's your birthday. It's your birthday episode. St. John.
St. John, which is in whatever that province is up there. I think it's New Brunswick.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure I can look it up later. Just like anybody else who gives a shit. That's the place that had the shipping container shopping area.
Yeah.
So you get off the boat again.
It's kind of fun.
And they have this kind of market area that's built out of old shipping containers, and lots of little shops and just really cool places to go. We also walked around the area and looked at things.
Well, it's probably
much bigger town, less touristy.
It's probably good to, if there's a huge climate change related storm coming, they can really buckle down, whatever the phrase is.
Oh, in those shipping containers.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's great.
It's for climate change.
That's exactly right.
Well, these shipping containers wash up on shore, and they have to do something with them.
That must be how they get them. I always think of season 2 of The Wire when I think of sea shipping containers, because there's subplots about people being smuggled in them and stuff like that.
Oh, no. I always think about, because I watch these weird, tiny house shows sometimes, and they'd make little homes out of shipping containers.
Oh, no, that's a thing for sure.
Yeah, different. And
so
maybe we already covered that.
Very cool. And that's where I had the Canadian, not Canadian, the Thai poutine.
Ah.
That was the place that had that.
It was Canadian Thai poutine.
I believe so.
Did you get to eat any Canadian geese up there?
No, that wasn't on offer, unfortunately.
Oh, sad.
I bet there's some around here somewhere I could find.
Your goose is cooked, John.
Oh, no.
So that was the second one.
So I think after that we had a day at sea, and then
what was the scenery like though? I mean, what was it? I mean,
it's
coastal.
It's very there's lighthouses and all that
cool
stuff, and it's funny because a lot of the scenery up there reminds me a lot of UP of Michigan and North Shore Minnesota. Things like that, that if you've been there, you've seen similar scenery.
Well, I can relate to that.
Except this is on the ocean. Then.
Yeah, okay.
So it's everything's a little bit larger.
I can get a feeling for that then.
But similar kind of climate and scenery, nice forests and cliff sides and all that stuff. Except there's no whales in the Great Lakes that we know of.
Well, maybe there's some sort of a Loch Ness monster / Sasquatch thing. Sasquatch.
It's a really furry.
It's furry fish.
Dinosaur fish thing that somebody saw in Lake Michigan.
I'm going to try to draw that today.
That sounds like a good use of your time.
Well, it's better than what I've been doing a lot lately.
Well, okay.
Fine.
So that you hate to say, it all looks the same, but it sort of does. It's very pretty. I don't want to sell it short. It's a very nice place to see, and
it's a pleasant sameness.
It really is, and there's just something special about being on the ocean.
Yeah.
And
it's
and
been
of course,
years.
I think that was maybe it was the next port, but one of the things I like to do when I go on these cruises is stand out on deck while we leave port.
Oh.
When the ship leaves the dock and all that stuff.
And you wave at the peasants?
Wave at the peasants like, no buffet for you.
throw them some trinkets.
Yeah, and I think this one, or maybe it was the next port, but when we left, and it's always around dusk, there was a guy with a little mini PA system on the dock, playing some kind of Celtic Scottish tune, and he was singing.
Oh wow!
So he serenaded us out of the port.
It's like a well wish or good some sort of a blessing or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was kind of
Bon
cute.
voyage.
A little cheesy, but kind of cute too.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, the next port was Prince Edward Island. The town you pull up into is called Charlottetown.
Ah.
And that's the main stop. There's lots of stuff on PEIs, they call it.
What's that mean? Oh, ports.
Prince Edward Island.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Ports of entry would be POE.
Yeah. Power over Ethernet? No, that's POE. Sorry. Work talk.
VPN.
So yeah, that's probably the biggest attraction as far as ports go, and it has a lot of really nice scenery, of course, and it's also where the famous books Anne of Green Gables was from.
Okay.
Do you know about those?
That's funny. I thought that was set in England.
No, it's
I know very little about it, evidently.
But you can actually go tour the house where the gal grew up in or something.
Is that something MJ was into?
She was not, actually. No.
Okay. Well, good. You didn't have to go to that thing.
No, but that was a place several of the tours would take you there, and
I bet it's a huge deal.
It was kind of cool. We
get a
it
coffee
sounds
mug.
like we didn't do a whole lot, which is true, but we chose to just kind of have a relaxing time and not do one of these things where you get on a bus with 40 people.
No.
And just drive around to these places, and I'm sure you see some cool stuff, but...
Yeah, I would do the same thing, because our lives are so busy as it is. Why would I, on vacation, I'm going to go and be freaking busy? But some people like that. They don't know any better.
No, exactly. And we still got off each port and looked around at things and all that. So it's not like we just
sat
in the buffet all day and
played snooker.
It's like, oh, look, we're on land. Okay, what's next?
Let's go back in the ship.
Yeah. And some people do that, of course, but it was nice to not have that, like, oh, we got to make sure we make it there to get on this. And some of the tours were between 3 and 6 hours long.
Oof. That
you drive. And Prince Edward Island is large enough that you have to go a ways in to actually see some of these sites, and that's so they give you time to do that, but your day is kind of taken up by that.
Well, I'm sure that I don't know, in the right circumstances that might have been cool, but
yeah, exactly. And it kind of depends on what you want out of this kind of trip, and I think that stuff's even less important when you go to the Caribbean.
Yeah,
because the ports are just not. I mean, I thought the one I did years ago at Panama Canal, that was very interesting. But that's different from a lot of the ones where they just go to somewhere in the Bahamas, and you mainly just want to be in the nice, sandy beaches and clear water and all that stuff. And it's very much just, I'm not really here for the culture.
Yeah.
This was kind of a little bit more of a thing where you could do that, but we decided not to. So,
but I could see, you work hard, you just want to take it easy.
Yeah, and I think it was also it was MJ's first cruise, and she kind of just wanted to do just kind of play it by ear, and I think we did the right speed.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was
we had a nice time.
cruise.
We still wandered around and ate some more food. Things like it had some more great fish, of course. And
seafood's so much better on the coast.
Yeah, well, this sure tasted good, and these weren't high end places either. They were just these
they don't have to be
holes in the wall.
Their hole in the walls are better than our high end places here.
Yeah. Well, they have.
I mean, as
although
far as
I don't
quality,
think it was any cheaper. I'll put it that way.
Well, fine.
Lobster is expensive no matter where you get it, I think.
Sure.
But it was good. And then the last port we went to was in Nova Scotia, which is part of the name, but it was settled by people from Scotland. So lots of all these ports have these little tourist trap souvenir shops right
that
off.
Might get kind of old, I suppose, but
yeah, they all do. I mean, if you feel like you want to bring back stuff, you always have a chance to do that without going very far into the town.
Yeah.
And with this one, I mean, you could tell it was Scottish type thing. By there was a kilt shop right there, right after you got off the boat.
Yeah, I have a kilt. Do you have a kilt?
I don't own a kilt. Is that sad?
Oh, I have one with the hunter. I don't. We don't know.
Deerstalker or Jägermeister
the hunter. The hunter plaid. It's hunter kin.
It's kind of on my list to get one someday.
We should do a kilt night one of these days.
I get some kilt.
And we'll kilt a bottle of scotch. Yeah.
And that was another. Wandered around the town. The weather was better as we went along, so I like the first day it rained the whole time. But otherwise, sometimes it was really foggy, and you'd go out on deck and they'd be blowing the foghorn on the ship. It's very, very loud.
Wow. Does it do that pitch? I was close, wasn't it?
It doesn't. It just does one. Just.
No, it doesn't do the like in the movies, like the.
No, they must not do that anymore.
This was
lame. Just one loud single tone.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's just a dumb cruise ship. What do you expect?
No, they could figure out some way to make more than one tone.
I'm sure it's calculated to be as something. Although I swear half the time I could hear it inside the ship too. But
yeah,
it was loud.
They want to make sure everyone knows they're there. The lobster fishermen and
you've got 100,000+ ton
hey, coming through
thing floating around at 20 knots. It's
we can't see you, by the way.
Although pretty much everything has radar and all that stuff now. And GPSs and,
sure.
But I'll bet
which kills the whales.
I bet they run into each other so often.
Well, it's all part of the. Maybe that's a different package you can get.
Oh, where you have a collision?
Collision cruise.
And you have to go there. Did you know some of these boats have? I've mentioned how this one had like an ice rink and a climbing wall and.
Yeah. Wow.
Water slides on the outside and all that stuff.
Get an ice slide.
This one had that would be well. You know what?
It probably was ice.
They could do it. It was never quite freezing. It was just in the 40s and 50s. But very damp. Good time to be out in the hot tub.
Oh yeah, that's what you do.
That was nice. You could probably do some kind of ice thing even in the tropics because, I mean, one of there's Middle Eastern countries that have like outdoor, ski areas and all that stuff.
Yeah,
if you have enough money, you can definitely do it.
Yeah. Well, I knew of one indoors, but there's an outdoor one probably too, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm mistaken, but it's still,
I know of an indoor one.
It's quite
Qatar.
obnoxious.
Qatar does all
it's probably
they're making their own islands for Pete's sake, and they're.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened after Nova Scotia? Did you just go straight back?
We had one more day where we headed back, where we were at sea, and then like you get in at. I think the ship usually gets into port around 7 a.m.
And then he flew home.
And then we got on a plane and came home. But getting off the boat is always kind of a pain because you have to time it a certain way.
Would they make you jump?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Get off. Okay, you can use your suitcase as a flotation device.
This guy's gonna sing a Celtic song while you jump.
Danny boy. They have a system where they'll basically try and get people to go in different phases, so everybody doesn't try and leave at once.
Okay. Oh, so there is a timing thing.
But it kind of depends on if you fit into those groups. They come and fetch your luggage the night before.
Oh.
And have it moved down for you. So you're not
they got to be efficient.
They're pretty efficient, but the thing is, though, if you have an earlier flight, you kind of want to get off right away so you can get to the airport.
Well, yeah.
And we felt, well, we can haul our luggage ourselves, and we don't really want to wait around and risk being late. But the problem, of course, is a lot of other people decided to do that too. So there's a huge line of people trying to get off the boat at the same time. So that part of it was not super great. If we just chilled out and gone later, it would have been fine. But
yeah, just imagine if the boat was sinking. That would be really inefficient. No,
but
you should.
But
actually,
it might work better because they're not worried about customs and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
You're right. And your luggage, screw that. Just get on a boat.
There's not one person for scanning your documents or whatever. So
but somebody will say women and children first, and you'll be like, God damn it, assholes! There's no children.
No.
You can say I'm 12.
They go,
Hi, hello. I'm only 12. I'm a very large 12.
That's right.
I'm Scottish. No, okay, whatever.
And that if you say you're Scottish, you get off.
Oh yeah, that's it. You're fine.
Yeah, you totally do.
Scottish, and then women and children.
Yeah, sure, whatever. People.
Oh, that was cool.
But yeah, that sounds kind of lame if you're repeating it like that. But we really had the time we wanted to have, and.
No, I learned a lot about this kind of thing. Maybe I'll do a cruise someday. Like I said, I'm still kind of in the, just sitting on a beach mode. But maybe someday.
It's really
or a river cruise.
Yeah, I think you would like I think you would like an ocean cruise better, Phil, than a river cruise.
Okay.
From what I can tell.
Okay.
I think the river ones are much more. You're kind of somebody described it as sounds like being on a band trip.
Well, the only I was on a river cruise once, and it was a choir trip, but that's fine.
Well, that's right, and I think you have a lot more latitude on the bigger ships to do your own thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'm learning. I learned a lot from this,
and part of it is choosing. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want, but some of it is choosing the trip, choosing the time of year, and choosing which cruise line you take, because they all kind of have different focuses.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things to learn. The one we took was, if I had to describe it, kind of middle of the road and family focused, like young kids.
Yeah.
That need a lot of activities to keep them busy.
Here's a coloring book.
Yeah, right. No, that's where the rock climbing walls and the wave pools and all that stuff. I mean, it's kind of like a water park at sea.
That's weird. I've seen some pictures. It's just bizarre.
Oh, they're massive. Yeah, in fact, the one we were on had some of this stuff, but it was kind of on the small side.
Oh, I don't know. It seems like so that would be. Jody is a better planner than I am. I mean, I have to do that kind of stuff all day long, and I don't want to make all those decisions.
Yeah.
But she's good at that. But I can see
you can. The thing is, there's you still sort of have to.
I want it really simple.
You can do very little, but once you've got your when you're going to eat and getting off the boat and all that stuff goes, you can kind of just do whatever. And the like going to the entertainment shows and all that, that's completely just whatever you feel like doing. And sometimes we would go to one, and sometimes we'd just blow it off.
Yeah.
And just go sit in one of the nice lounges and
that's cool.
Look out at out the window.
Yeah.
Like so it's it's definitely
I want the Wall-E cruise.
That's why you just sit in a hover
with a Slurpee.
Recliner. We're almost there, Phil.
It sounds terrible, but I'm at that point where I'm just
But you just have this hollow projector thing in front of your eyes.
Yeah, maybe that's not right. I sit on the beach with a hollow projector.
Yeah, but then what? It gets hot, or you get rained on, or it's bugs.
I don't know. Somebody, you have a fan. I don't know what happens.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. Well, that was okay. That was cool. I just don't. I mean, I've never been on a cruise, and I don't quite understand how they work. I mean, it's basically like you're a hotel on the sea, I guess. And sometimes it pulls over, and you get out, and you look at some stuff.
They check your ID,
right? Your passport.
Do a breathalyzer test, see if you can keep going. Everybody on that boat would fail. I mean, they vary a little bit, but the general idea is that you get on and you have a room. It's like a big ass hotel / casino in some ways.
Yeah.
That moves, and it has ports of call, and some cruises will go from one. Like for example, we could have taken a very similar itinerary that started in Boston and ended in Montreal or something like that.
Oh.
And then you have to fly home from there instead of back where you started.
Oh, I see.
But often they will end up back where they start.
Sure.
Like Caribbean cruises are almost always like Miami area.
Yeah.
And they come back there too. Same thing with the California ones. The Alaska ones almost all sail out of Seattle or Vancouver for all that stuff.
Oh, I'd like to go one of those.
That's one of the ones we want to try that too.
Yeah, maybe we'll go with you.
There you go. You should.
Yeah,
it'd be fun with the group. We'll do the Time to Lean themed cruise.
Time to Lean cruise, and all of our. Hey, if anyone wants to join in, they can. We'll get some kind of fee if they show up or something.
We get a cut. What?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what the bands do, right?
They I would think so. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah. So, what are you curious about?
Well, everything. I'm a very curious person. Mm-hmm. I'm bi-curious. No, so basically it's kind of like an all-inclusive thing, except the drinks aren't included.
Right. So when you buy a cruise ticket, and some of you know all this already. So
everybody knows this, and yeah, I don't know how
the fun of it is hearing Phil's reaction to it.
Is it? I hope.
No, the way it works is that you buy your cruise ticket, which of course a big part of the cost is always the flights to wherever the cruise goes out of, unless you happen to live there. But we had to fly to Boston, of course, which was fortunately we got pretty cheap flights, but sometimes the flights can be very expensive.
Yeah, they're going up a little bit,
especially if you sail somewhere out of Europe or other parts of the world. That's a big chunk of your expense.
Yeah.
But you buy your cruise ticket, and it includes a lot of things. So it is sort of all inclusive. Of course, you get your room or cabin
and toilet paper
and lots of toilet paper. Yep.
Do they do the towel sculptures?
They did a couple of nights. I'm getting ahead of myself with the cabin steward. I'll get to him in a second. So, what happens is that you it's like you book a hotel room basically, and you have different tiers of expense.
Yeah.
It's like if you stay in a hotel, you can get the cheap room or the suites tiers. Or all that stuff. Yeah,
you buy the engine room.
Yeah, steerage, or you're on bunk beds with a bunch of colorful immigrants.
And they sing songs every night.
They dance jigs.
And you don't get any sleep.
Well, no. Why would you want to sleep?
You won't want
to. Terrible.
You'll be dancing. Well, yeah. Okay, fine.
Because you're headed to Ellis Island. That's the one port of call. Your final destination. Oh, that's terrible. immigrants. So yeah, you know, it's like anything else. If you have inside staterooms, which don't usually have windows, because they're, you know, they face into the ship, and that's like think of it as a small hotel room without windows.
Does it feel kind of claustrophobic?
I've stayed in some of them, and they can.
Yeah.
The weird part is that, of course, when you turn off the lights, it's really dark.
Oh, right. Oh, my goodness. You might have to put a little tiny bit of a LED on or something.
Yeah, I've seen people that bring these daylight lights that kind of, you know, mimic sunlight and things like that.
Yeah.
That come on gradually.
I would have.
All that stuff.
I would have to do something like that.
Yeah, there are lots of ways you can deal with it. And some people like those cabins fine. Some really don't. But so those are the least expensive usually. And then usually you can get what's called an outside cabin, which has a window or a porthole, although they're quite large now. They don't really have the tiny round ones anymore on most of these
I was
ships.
going to say, is it worth it?
But it is on these ones just a window.
Yeah.
And the next step up is usually called a veranda, and it has a little balcony.
Oh my goodness!
You can go out. It has a couple of chairs, and you can sit out there and be outside. Yeah,
and you could jump off if you feel like ending
you could do that
it.
almost anywhere on those boats.
Sure. Well,
it's a little scary, but
it's an expensive way to go out, but fine.
Exactly. And the veranda ones, the cruise ships used to have very few of these things. They were pretty rare, and then over the years they were popular, and they started building the ships with lots of these verandas.
Wow.
Like if you look at the modern cruise ships, they have just rows and rows of them all over the place.
It seems like from the pictures, yeah.
And it's a cool thing to have because you got this. I mean, they're small. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's not a big balcony,
and it's probably really always windy or something.
Well, sometimes I think it depends on where you are. I wouldn't have paid for one on this cruise we were on because it was either fog or rain or other things out there, and you weren't seeing a lot of scenery.
It's not like you're going to see whales.
No, not on the ship. Although one of the stops had a whale watching tour, you could go out on a small boat.
Oh, yeah. They have all these different add-ons you can do.
Oh, yeah. These shore excursions that you
Oh, my
can do.
God.
Those get crazy.
Oof.
But so the verandas are there's a lot of those. And then they have suites and really fancy rooms and all that. But
oh, my.
Most of the time, it's between are you going to get... I think the main choice for most people, at least for me, do you go just cheap as you can and get an inside cabin? Because they do cost quite a bit less. Or do you get a veranda where you can sit outside and have your own little outdoor deck with a couple of chairs and you can sit out there with a beverage and all that stuff. And
on some tours, that could be really nice.
And I hear that Alaska is really great with those veranda ones because you're always close to the shore and you can see all the mountains and other things going by.
Oh, how cool.
So I think that's the cruise you'd want to splurge on it.
Okay.
So you have that. And the thing that's cool about that is that you have this room, and of course you basically are there the entire 7 days. So you stop almost every day. You wake up and you're in a new place, but you have the same room every night.
You don't have to unpack and repack Yep. Okay, that's cool.
That's an advantage. And so what that includes besides the room though is you also all of your food is included in that ticket.
So it's kind of like Old Country Buffet.
Well, it gets complicated. That's the problem. It used to be that
there's tiers.
Well, yes, no. I think the really fancy suites have just another level of everything. But I'm talking about the general cabins that most people.
Oh, so there's like a VIP food.
Yeah,
area?
they have some of their own like lounge areas and all that stuff.
That's so weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's capitalism.
Yep. If you pay a ton of money, you have some exclusive lounge areas and places you can get away from the rabble.
And they get lap dances.
They probably get lap dances. God.
It's all inclusive.
Yeah. Well, actually,
and speaking of your steward, that's a different thing. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So one of the things that you end up with, even on the cheap cabins, is you have what's called a cabin steward. And this is a person who takes care of your room. I think it's more than one person who cleans it, but every I think
one
twice
person
a day,
is like the lead.
But he or she is assigned to your cabin during the cruise. And the thing is, they get to they learn your name, and they kind of figure out when you get up in the morning and all that stuff. And you get the impression that they live in a little closet nearby, and they just jump out as soon as you go to breakfast or something. We had this guy named Kennedy who
named after John F. K.
I don't know. It wasn't spelled the same way. I didn't ask, but
that's too much. You don't want to know.
But the thing is, they anything you need, like we both have CPAP machines, and he made sure that we had extension cords and distilled water and all that stuff.
Wow, you didn't have to bring your own distilled water?
No. I just
CPAP.
let them know. Yep.
I have a CPAP, so that's cool.
And
they fill it up for you?
Yeah, they left jugs of distilled water in the room.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the service is really good on these ships. They do a lot of cool stuff, and they're very friendly. They remember your name, Mr. John or some whatever, whatever they're calling
John.
Mr. John. And so you have a cabin steward. The thing that gets a little funny about them is that they come in the room, and I'm sure if you ask them not to, like, come in and fix things up, they probably would respect that. But they make the bed, and like we come in, and like our clothes were like folded and put back on the wherever they were.
Even your underwear?
Well, fortunately, I didn't find that out. But like I'd leave some shirts out or whatever, and I'd come back and they were folded.
Okay, but if you're in the shower, they don't like soap your back or something.
No,
it's
not that kind of service.
Okay.
No, but they straighten things up. They make sure they basically check the room twice a day.
Wow.
So basically after you go out in the morning, and then like usually while you're at dinner, they come back in and make the bed again and make sure stuff's. It's very nice.
Because I take naps. I'm not afraid to admit that. So they'd have to figure that out.
No, they really do.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay.
So the food part is where it gets interesting. So it is kind of like Old Country. Old Country Buffet, by the way, is this now defunct.
I think there are some still.
Chain of they're like Golden Corral or what we used to have in Rapid
the Trough.
Royal Trough, as my dad used to call it. These places are all over the country. It's just this catch-all buffet place where you have some of everything.
Right.
And
so everybody gets what they want. Sure. And it's maybe not great, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of different foods, and it's all you can eat, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how long cruise ships have had buffet restaurants, but I took my first cruise in 2008, and they definitely had them there. So it dates before that.
And they're always open.
They're not. I think some ships maybe they do, although they're open a lot.
Almost always.
Now, that doesn't mean just because the buffet is not open all the time doesn't mean you can't get food whenever you want.
Okay, right. I get it. Right.
Different. You basically have unlimited food on these ships.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect. It's just like that movie.
It's like WALL-E.
WALL-E.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
People are going on the little hover things, and they can't move.
We're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very pointed satire of cruise ships.
Okay. That's my only reference point.
No. There's a lot of truth in that movie. There's a lot there. But the way the food works on this ship is that you always have options. So you can go to the buffet, which in this cruise line is called the Windjammer.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're gonna go to the Jammer. I
think
the other line I've went on is called the Lido. They give it a name, And you can eat all 3 of your meals there. That's no problem.
If you want.
If you want. It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner all the time. They're always open for most of the day. And, usually until 9 at night or something. But you also have what they call the main dining room, which is this big, and that's the thing that's always been there. You have this big sit-down dining room where most of the time you have... you tell them whether you want to eat early, like at 5, or later at like 8 p.m.
Okay.
And sometimes you can say, well, I want to be flexible, and then you just kind of go in and see what they have.
I'd be early. I'm an early eater.
And we did late, of course, which is really 7 o'clock.
We can't go on the cruise together. We'd have to eat at different times.
Yeah, you'd be eating at 4 p.m.
And then you and I can't dance with the captain at the same time.
Nope. Captain Scoobing it's not going to be available at that time. And of course, the thing that's so you do that, and it's a typical thing where you they vary the menu a little bit each night, but they have like you can pick from
it's
here's
a
an
restaurant.
Appetizer, and here's a main course, here's a dessert, blah blah blah.
They have like 3 choices for each.
It's more like 8 to 10 choices.
Oh my God!
Sometimes a little bit less, but it's quite a few, and they vary it up a little bit. And
wow!
You just tell the and you have the same servers every night too in the main dining room.
So they get to know what you like.
They get to know you, yeah, and of course if
creepy.
It's that it's kind of nice, but they're awfully friendly.
No. I totally get it because where I'm coming from is like all day long I'm helping other people with things, and if I'm gonna go on a vacation or something, so that Jordy and I have talked about doing one of these kind of all-inclusive resort things in Mexico or something, which I've never done.
I think they're very similar in a lot of these
except
aspects.
you're just on a beach. You're not
you don't go anywhere. It's more about just relaxing.
You could go. Yeah, that's what I'm about. But you could go to some ruins. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. You depending on where you go, you probably have. I mean, they've all got different advantages.
I think some of these include the drinks too, which could be dangerous, but that's fine.
Yeah, and it all depends on how you
the
dice
package.
It. And so, besides, so you that's the dining room, and you can go there. At night is the main thing, and since there were only 2 of us, and they have mostly larger tables, we got seated with some other strangers.
Okay,
like that.
So you get to know people.
We did, and
which
I
is
think
maybe awkward, but it could be fun.
If you don't like that, you can request to change it, or you can just do something else. You don't have to eat there. There's tons of other food.
But why not? But
we actually had a good time getting to know the people that were at our table. One of them turned out to be from here in the Twin Cities. This retired gal who was traveling by herself, just kind of having fun.
Yeah, good for her.
Happened to be from here, and
you were at the same table.
Yeah, it just happened to be at the same table.
Weird.
And some other people from one gal was from Maine, and another couple was from like Rhode Island or something like that. It was really cool, and they were all really nice and all that kind of thing. But so besides the buffet and the main dining and all that stuff,
is that pretty fancy?
It is kind of fancy, and a couple nights of the week they do what they call formal.
And, you got to dress up,
and you're supposed to, like, the guys are supposed to wear a jacket and all that stuff.
Oh my God!
Although
my jacket doesn't fit.
I don't think they're super strict. It depends on the cruise line you do. Some of them are much more strict about it.
Some of them, your steward would give you a jacket.
Here,
take my jacket. You don't have a jacket.
Yeah, and this is Royal Caribbean, and they're kind of a more family oriented outfit, and so their formal nights are just kind of suggested. I think other cruise lines are more rigid about that.
Sure,
they're basically like, if you really need to dress up if you're going to be in the dining room that night, because
you got to dress up to the nines or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah,
the T's, the nines, the T's. What's the phrase?
Yeah,
the 8s.
9s is the expression, I think.
Okay, thank you.
So that's but on top of all that, there you can get room service if you want.
Oh.
They'll deliver food to your room 24 hours a day.
Wow. I want a poached egg. You could say that?
It's a limited thing.
At 3 a.m, I want a poached quail's egg.
Only if you stay in the rich people area.
Oh, okay.
So,
God
sorry.
damn it.
Yeah,
someday.
No cruise for you.
Someday.
But there was this. So a lot of these ships have these big kind of shopping areas on them. Like they look like little malls inside the ship.
I've seen pictures. It seems weird. And then there's the shows and whatever else.
Yeah. But in this shopping area, it looks like a little mall in the middle of the ship that's open. It looks like a street. Actually, there's like these little shops. There's a couple of bars. Like one of them was an Irish or British pub kind of a thing that had like tables and chairs sitting out there like they were on the sidewalk and all that stuff. It's all inside the ship.
But that's not included, right?
Well, the bar stuff is definitely not included.
Yeah.
But they're in the shopping area. They had this thing called the Promenade Cafe or something like that, and that place is free. And basically, from I don't know, like 11 a.m. until 3 in the morning, you can walk up there and they'll give you pizza and sandwiches.
Wow.
Stuff. And they always have free coffee and iced tea and shit like that.
Cool.
And anytime until like 3 a.m., you can go in there and just get a bunch of pizza.
It's so strange.
As much as you want. They just give you like, how many slices do you want?
Weird.
And so that's always there. These ships also have what they call specialty restaurants, which are extra charge, nicer places, like smaller restaurants.
So you
pay extra, like you get a reservation there.
Okay.
And this ship had an Italian restaurant and a steakhouse and a sushi restaurant.
Oh.
Which we did the sushi place, and it was actually really good.
I'm sure.
It was actually quite decent.
They get some good people on these things, I know.
Well, and the thing is, the rest of the food, like the buffet food, is kind of what you'd expect. There's a lot of crap. Some of it's actually pretty good. You have to kind of weed out the good stuff.
I guess you just have to make your choices and plan your day.
You really start to figure out what's good at these things and what's not, and like in the fancy dining room, I had some really good food and I had some not so good food.
Okay.
So like you got to remember about the main dining room. It's like it's a fancy looking place, but there's hundreds of people being served at once in these dining rooms.
I can't even imagine.
And it's amazing they do it at all, but certain things like, Mary Jane had a really badly cooked steak one night.
Oh, that's too bad.
I had this pork chop that was really dried out, but other time, the hilarious thing, one night they had lobster tail, and it was really well done. It was really good.
Yeah.
And the thing that I had figured, I'd learned that even in the main dining room, you can ask for more if you want. You can say, I'd like 2 lobster tails. And they'll just say, yeah, okay.
Wow.
And like, I didn't do that the first time. And then like I finished it up and the guy came back, you guys want anything else? So I'll take another lobster tail. And he just brought another one out.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
you could eat 100 lobster tails?
You probably could. Yeah.
Weird.
They'll bring you as much as you want.
If they had that many.
Yeah. And if you want 2 desserts, you get 2 desserts.
I like that.
It's really, I mean, it's probably disgusting too in a way, but
but
it's so indulgent, and you feel like wow, I got to have extra lobster, and I
get it.
Didn't cost me that much money.
I get it. That's kind of I think on Jordy and I on our next trip we'll try to figure that out. I think we'll do something in Mexico, I guess, but.
So the thing about these cruise ships, and I don't know if the all-inclusives are like this or not. Maybe they are. But the cruise price is actually pretty low for what you're getting. It's really,
I mean, relatively, it didn't seem that bad.
Again, for what you're getting a room and unlimited food.
Yeah.
Plus you're being taken places.
And a steward that fills up your CPAP
and
machine.
really good service. Yeah. And you get all this stuff, but the thing is, they're obviously they use a lot of different ways to make extra money on you.
Oh, sure.
And that all the shopping and junk they have out for sale, and the alcohol is a big profit generator.
Oh my God, that's not included.
No, it's definitely not.
Some of these places do, but I guess.
Yeah, it could be, or they just build it into the price of the thing. But
yeah,
which is good. It's nice if you don't drink, then it's a great way to save money.
So what if you have a veranda and you want to have a scotch on the veranda? Can you buy like a bottle of scotch there? How's that work?
So you can't buy whole bottles, although they do sell. They have duty free shops.
They'll bring you a drink,
but they I don't think they'll deliver booze to your cabin.
Oh,
at least not
crazy.
in the class cabin we had. But what you can do is you can go down to the nearest bar and get your drink and take it back to your cabin.
Oh, sure.
They don't care. Like I would go to at some point I'd stop by the Jammer or something like that and get some coffee. Yeah. And I would just walk out of there with it, and they don't care. People would walk out with whole plates of food.
But you didn't do the gambling thing. Did you see some
they
shows?
all have casinos. We went to a bunch of shows.
You did?
There were a couple of ones that did like Broadway review things where they do all these songs and costumes.
Oh my God. Is it okay?
It's not bad.
No, I know they have good talent, but I'm not a big Broadway fan.
It's like here's all these songs from big shows and all that, but
they didn't do a Sondheim review.
Not specifically to one thing. It's all just very broad.
No. I want to make my own special cruise.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot that get more focused like that. This was just like it's a 45-minute show, and they just move from one thing to the next quickly. They had a live band.
They don't do Sweeney Todd.
No.
And a free rare steak.
Yeah.
Or a meat pie.
Right. At the steakhouse. Yeah. There you go.
I would do that. A Sondheim cruise.
Somebody's probably done one. Who the hell knows?
Actually, I have been on a cruise, sort of. On the Rhine, a river cruise. Mm-hmm. When I was in college, we did our choir trip. It was kind of one of these deals where the cruise trip came back up and we took it down because no one else was on it or something. It was like a weird deal like that. We paid to travel back. It wasn't anything like you're describing. But it was nice. I mean, the little cabins were nice, and got to see the Rhine and
the Rhine.
The Rhine.
Jawohl.
Maybe I'm more of a river cruise guy. I thought they have these on the Mississippi. And I don't know.
Yeah, they I think this year they started Viking. They're the big company that does all these. They started doing Great Lakes cruises.
Wow. Okay.
With those ships, yeah.
The Pacific Northwest intrigues me. I need to get back out there.
I think
someday.
that's really good. My first cruise ever was this one that sailed out of the UK and went to Norway and did all the fjords. I was going to say,
I remember that. Yeah,
yeah, that was still maybe the best cruise ever.
You're probably still pining for the fjords.
Oh yeah, so the entertainment, it was it's fine. I appreciate they had a bunch of live musicians, different venues, and they really have well.
they have like a lot of performers. It's really amazing.
They do, and I think some of the other lines, like my mom has been on a lot of Holland America, and they skew a little bit older, for example, but they have a lot of they'll do string quartets and stuff like that, more classical music.
Wow, that's cool.
Stuff. That's kind of one of their. They focus on music a little bit more.
I'd probably go on an older cruise.
Royal Caribbean is more of it's much more family oriented. So the boats have they do this ship, which isn't one of the bigger ones, had rock climbing wall and a wave pool, giant water slide, all that stuff.
Sure.
And they're just incredibly. I mean, they keep kids busy. They really do.
Well, that's what the parents want.
And that's really important. Although this cruise had very few kids on it, because again, it's Canada, and it was in October, so it was.
You're going to go on a water slide.
Nobody was out there doing. I mean, we went out in the pool, like in the whirlpool and stuff like that.
They had a hot tub.
They had a lot of hot tubs.
Oh, you got to do that.
Everybody's out there with their drinks, and I'll get back to the alcohol real quick. And so they make money on alcohol. You can either pay a la carte, which is what I did, per drink, or you can get a drinks package, which is unlimited.
Okay, that's like $90.
It was the best price, which I think if you buy in advance is cheaper. It was $70 a day.
Oof.
And
I can't drink that. Even I can't drink that much a day.
You have to drink a lot. And keep in mind, every time I'd get a pour of whiskey, it was between $12 and $14 a piece.
Even I couldn't do that.
And even then,
Even you couldn't.
I didn't get close to $70 in one day.
Okay.
And again, keep in mind that if you want to drink lattes and pop and other stuff all day, and booze,
that's included.
That's part of the drink package too.
Oh wait, so you want to get a Dr. Pepper?
So if you want a Dr. Pepper, they have different tiers. They have one that's all soda. They have different packages. The thing is, though, if
fucking tiers,
if you don't pay any extra for beverages, you don't get pop, for example. And what we found out is that if you want a can of Diet Coke, with the gratuity fee and everything, it's almost $5 for one can of pop.
Is that Coke Zero or regular?
Well, they had all the Cokes. So you could get, Matthew
Cokes.
P. could get a Coke Zero, yes. But man, you start to just
this weird.
And
now, so if you're on the real VIP
to do the numbers
tour,
though and figure it out though.
If you're on the real VIP thing, they don't nickel and dime you like that. I think a lot of that
stuff's included then.
They don't nickel and dime you. People at that tier, at the Elon Musk level or whatever.
They're not on that ship.
No, they have their own ship.
Yeah, they have a yacht.
I'm just saying, or somebody up there.
They have an oligarch class yacht.
Yeah, which is stranded in Norway. The poor Russian oligarch.
But yeah, the nickel and diming thing is really, you have to watch that, and I think that's something that Mary Jane was not. She hadn't quite figured that out, and it's like, oh crap, they really are trying to just every time you turn around.
that would be kind of annoying. I don't want to deal with that though. You know. So if I go to somewhere, so I'm going.
I just kind of ignore it all, but it's whatever.
Yeah, no, I get that, but Jody and I have talked about a couple of different things, and I don't want to deal with decisions because every day I make 1,000 decisions. Okay, it's not that much, but I'm exaggerating.
No, these things have a lot of,
first world problems
because these boats have so many things going on. The food alone is you're constantly like, oh, okay, where should we eat today, or what should we do here? It's all. If you like that, that's cool. But yeah, it's you have tons and tons of choices. Well, and you can schedule all the there's so many activities and entertainment things, and of course all the stuff you can do on the shore.
Yeah.
Each day, you can do excursions, or you can just go walk around or whatever.
I kind of envision, and maybe this sounds incredibly lazy, but I just envision sitting on a beach, right? And I'm like, I think I want a drink. Okay, I'll have a drink. I need something to eat. I'm not going to sit on the beach all day, granted.
Yeah.
But
then the inclusive resort is probably what you want.
We're going to try for that.
You don't really care where you go, that kind of thing. You just want to be in a warm place somewhere.
I don't
have
know
lots of just relaxation and good food.
No,
and whatever.
totally. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. Someday I do want to do a cruise. I think if I'm not in a weird solitary confinement thing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that, and apparently the river cruises are much more like, they're apparently the thing. You're in with people a lot on those because they're not as big, and so
that
you
could
eat
be
with
challenging.
more people, and all the excursions and things like that are in groups. That, I've heard it described as kind of like a band trip.
Oh, jeez.
Where you have to, and some people love that. They want to be social and want to go hang out with people.
If I was in the right frame of mind, I could figure that out.
Yeah, and the regular cruises are you can definitely get time by yourself. There's lots of places you can go hang out. We never, even though there were thousands of people on this ship, we never felt like we couldn't get away from people.
That's cool.
Besides your room, but there was always a place you could go. There was a lounge somewhere you could go hang out and have a drink, and there weren't a lot of people around, or you could go sit on the deck and just watch the waves go by and all that stuff. So they create enough space on these boats for you to have room.
Well, that's cool.
So that helps a lot, so that you're not super crowded. It could be some of the ones that are cheaper. They might put more people on there in general, and maybe that's a matter of which one you choose. But
okay,
it was interesting.
Yeah,
but we had a good time. We're ready to do another one.
I think our first step into this thing is the all-inclusive Mexico something or other.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple of references from Wendy K or P and her husband David P.
They got you in good with the staff, or
no? They hey, get this, steward. No, they've been on several of these kind of.
I think Matthew P has also been on that. They've been to a couple.
I'll check with them.
Yeah. No, they sound.
We've never done anything like that before,
Well, you should.
But I just don't.
You guys can really just get away from stuff.
You're right. It's more about just relaxing and just. I just don't want to make a lot of decisions.
Yeah, and you can sort of carve that out of a cruise too, but it's not as much the focus.
Now next time, maybe we'll do
that's
a cruise.
assuming that they that you want to actually go somewhere.
Yeah,
that's kind of part of the deal. But Canada was really beautiful. It was just a really fun trip, and the thing, of course, is they make it very easy for you to kind of turn off the communication with the outside world if you want to.
Yeah, that's cool.
For one thing, if you don't want to pay for their ship internet, then you just turn your phone off.
Wow.
And mine worked in the ports every day, so if I wanted to, I could,
you sent a couple pictures.
Yeah, you could totally do all that stuff, and I could check in and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as we left port, I just put the phone in airplane mode and just not worry about it.
No, that's good.
And it really keeps you away from work too.
What were some side excursions you did, or I know you went to ports of call, that kind of thing.
Well, we didn't do any specific.
It didn't seem like it.
No, we decided
you
not to.
You went to one place where it was maybe that was a shopping thing. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was. I think it was the Nova Scotia port that had like this big kind of retail area that was almost an outdoor market made out of shipping containers.
Okay. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I was.
That was really cool.
Okay.
That's the same port where we found this Thai restaurant that was built into a pub. That was really, really cool. That I had coconut curry poutine.
Yeah.
Which was just so amazingly good. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, it was
my God.
This
what is it?
Thai coconut curry gravy instead of the regular gravy they put on poutine.
On potatoes.
Yeah, it's got over fries with cheese curds like regular poutine.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. We had a lot of great food in the ports.
I think some people from Great Britain would dig that. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, boy,
they get the curry fries.
Poutine's almost.
Poutine is different, but that what you're describing reminds me of something I've heard about in travel shows in Great Britain. But it's not called poutine.
Yeah,
curry fries or something.
It's probably the sauce without the cheese curd part.
Right, no cheese curds.
Yeah.
Got it.
This was good though. I could use some right now. Yeah, we really had a lot of great food.
You can't get that where you are.
Well, I don't think so. I mean,
maybe
a lot of poutine is really common around here. I feel like a lot of places have it, but
it's gotten more. Yeah,
but it's much more
not curry.
No, that's the first time I'd ever seen a Thai curry poutine.
Yeah, well, so while Jody's out, we have a couple friends that are into brew pubs, and so we might check out a few of those together. Bang Bang and maybe Fair State, that kind of thing. So there's different brew pubs that I haven't got, because Jody is not into beer. She's more of a wine gal and cocktails. And, well, we'll see. My social calendar is actually pretty busy. Tomorrow night, you and I are going out with some old college friends, so that's going to be
high school, I believe. Right?
Oh, no, high school, right. Well, I said college, but it's high school.
Who cares?
It's before that, yeah.
From the old country.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
That's going to be fun. It's true.
O'Shaughnessy?
O'Shaughnessy, yes.
Shaughnessy.
Sean Cassidy.
Well, okay, we did a deep dive into the cruising.
Yeah,
but you don't get into the gambling though.
No, that's
a loser's game.
The house always wins.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people do. Those ships all except Disney doesn't do casinos, but all the other ones do.
Ow! Can you think of the wonderful?
Hey, you just lost $1,000.
The wonderful games that Disney Plus could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but lots of
Under the Sea.
There's always a casino, and yeah. Again,
right.
Another profit center, I'm sure, but there are a lot of people in there.
Yeah, you might make a few bucks, but
I guess people do. I don't know. It's the same reason they go to the ones that are not
around
on ships.
Here.
It's all they all look kind of the same.
Well, Sean and I recently went to a casino to see the David Bowie tribute kind of concert thing, and we didn't even have time to gamble. We were so busy, but whatever.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Well, you told me that the casino no longer had its famous buffet.
It doesn't have a buffet anymore. No,
they used to have a really good buffet.
I know. That's what because I asked because Sean and I wandered around for a while and had a Buffalo Trace, and we were wandering around. And finally, I decided we got to ask somebody. I was like, "Where's the buffet?" And, well, we don't have that anymore. We had a good.
I must have been a victim of COVID.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We had a good. We had a good dinner, but I wanted a buffet. But the thing about it, when I was thinking about it, I wouldn't have been able to eat that much. That's fine.
Well, no, but
I wouldn't have earned my keep, as we used to say in the old buffet
that one
days.
had some pretty good food on it back in the day.
Oh, that's sad.
It wasn't super cheap. It wasn't like the really old days where they would have the buffet as a loss leader to get people to gamble. It was, but probably the food is better.
I hope they can
charging
bring the
more.
buffet back, though. I mean, come on.
People sure like them. So,
oh, that's sad. On that note, a sad buffet note. Maybe we're done. So, I don't know. Season 9 started with a bang here and your birthday. And Election Day birthday.
It's going to be killer episode.
Dude. Episode 81.
Yeah.
This will be right up there with Space Poop.
Space Poop. The title is going to make a big difference on this episode.
I don't know. Space Poop 2. We'll just call it randomly.
Yeah. How about 8? Yeah, Space Poop 8. And they'll just wonder, wait, where are all the other ones?
Oh, yeah. They'll go back to our backlog.
Yeah. Backlog.
I have noticed that a little bit after, because with the David Daniels episode, we got some new listeners, and you can kind of see that they're checking out some of the older ones.
The legacy of disappointment.
I just have to say, the first few episodes were more nostalgia, 80s nostalgia, growing up in Rapid City, South Dakota. And then we branched out into whatever this is. So,
yeah, whatever it is. Talking about buffets.
Oh, man. I kind of miss Old Country Buffet, but I guess they're around. They might be around.
You know, if Mr. Donut can survive, they can too.
But you're always, you go there and you eat too much, and then you're always kind of.
You don't feel great.
No, you kind of regret your decisions.
Oh, yeah. Very, yeah. I'll speaking of donuts, I had some good donuts on this boat. Surprisingly.
Did they have apple fritters?
No, they just had a
favorite.
few. They very basic, but they were pretty freshly made and they were good. Like every morning they had them out on the buffet.
Like what?
Just like raised ones with chocolate or plain ones. Yeah, they were really just a few. Nothing special, but they were actually pretty good.
A really good apple fritter. There's nothing better than that.
Well, yeah, I should say.
In my opinion.
There's a place here in the cities that has the best ones I've ever had.
What's that? Do you remember?
I think it's called Sunrise.
I'm going to check it out.
I'll send you a link.
We'll post it here.
They're just incredible.
Oh, I love a good apple fritter.
Worth the drive.
Not with one with this that's fake apple pie filling.
No. These have like, they're not super puffy like they're. But they're
clumpy.
They're a little clumpy. They've got they've got a crust on the outside of them.
Exactly.
And little hunks of apple and
perfect.
They're just exactly how you want them.
No, we used to have a place here in West St. Paul called Granny's Donuts.
With the guy who rounded everything up or down.
Yeah, they called him the donut Nazi, I guess.
That's right.
But instead of giving change, he said, here's some donut holes.
That's right. But I don't want it. Oh, shut up. No donut for you.
That was a COVID thing too, but he was probably at the age where he needed to retire too, but his kids didn't take up the business.
Or his accountant told him he better get out of town.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had to pay cash and there was no receipts and whatever.
It's a little fishy.
That's fine. But those apple fritters, oh my God. Okay, but I'll try this other place.
Yeah, I'll let you know what it is.
And now it's time for the John's birthday quiz.
It's the John Knows birthday quiz. We're gonna find out if he's a whiz. The John Knows birthday quiz. Let's get up in his biz.
I'm surprising John a little bit here. So I'm gonna read a quote, and you have to try to.
I can't answer a quiz without Andy being here.
Oh, hi. It's Andy. Hi, John. How's Birdie
doing here?
How's Birdie doing?
Oh, she's demanding attention.
Okay, I can't quite imitate Andy.
God, I don't know what you're trying to.
I don't know. It's terrible.
Anyway,
sorry,
proceed.
Andy. Okay, so I'm gonna read some quotes. And you have to try to guess who said it.
Okay.
I think
I'm as ready as I will ever be.
All right. Okay, here we go. Oh, I have to read. My favorite thing about John, besides his good looks and music ability, is his fashion sense. As a bit of a fashion snob myself, I always look forward to seeing what John will be wearing when I see him. Will he be wearing a 45th parallel t-shirt that has holes in it? The long-sleeved 45th parallel t-shirt? Or the other long-sleeved 45th parallel t-shirt? Whatever, I know that he will pair whatever shirt he chooses tastefully with a pair of jeans and dark shoes. It's the mystery that keeps it interesting. Happy birthday, John. Who said that?
Before I answer, I'd like to protest that I'm being mischaracterized a little bit.
Well, no, I know.
My 45th Matthew P. My 45th parallel shirts do not have holes in them.
I didn't think so.
I would not be allowed to go in public
to leave the house.
Right. Okay, haha.
Okay, Matthew P. Mischaracterizing you again. Okay,
well, I mean, it's just an exaggeration. It's based in fact.
Okay.
And part of the time is I don't actually wear them all that much, but I make a point of wearing one when they're visiting or we're visiting them.
Well, and maybe you might go to 45th parallel as coincidentally. So why wouldn't you wear a shirt?
Sometimes, yeah. But I now it's almost a running gag that I wear one of those shirts.
Pair it with holy sweatpants next time, like Lynn H.
Crossing the streams there. Yeah.
Oh, that's too much. Okay, here's another one. A great deal of what I know about audio and video hardware I learned from John. Also, innumerable tips on records, CDs, and every home video format since the 1980s. So thanks for all that you've done for me, John. I've always greatly valued your advice. Who said that?
That's awfully...
We don't know
all
that
encompassing. I'm guessing that is my good friend and cousin Sean.
Ah, yes. Well, you're good at this.
You know.
Yeah,
well,
two for two. This maybe this is too easy.
Who else would mention that?
I could have read it like that.
You didn't give it away with the voice though.
Oh gosh, it was tempting.
Oh well, thank you, Sean. I've learned a great deal about Doctor Who, the Beatles, and other things.
Yeah. All right, number 3. You're 2 for 2. When I step back and think of John, I often think of John Classic, which was high school John. In high school, John was our home base, our ground wire, our master maven, our chief of operations, our master technicians, our subcontracted landlord, our DJ, and lord of the snack. Now he's okay too.
Okay, you saved the hard one. Let's see, who would have said such a thing?
Who would have said such a thing?
Is that Scott T?
Oh, that is Lee H.
Oh, okay. Another long-winded person.
I'll have to say I should have asked more people than I did. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. God love him.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me make sure I'm not missing any. Okay. So you missed one there.
Okay.
I should have asked Scott T. Okay. So this is not Scott T. So this one says, "How about dinner and a show?" Who said that?
That must be my wife.
Is that based on a cruise thing or something?
No, I can tell you what that is if she didn't.
She didn't. No, she just said.
So
okay.
A number of years ago, we were out in Rapid City. It all comes back to Rapid City.
Oh.
That should be their slogan.
The Star of the West.
It all comes back to Rapid City.
Rapid City. Star of the West.
Rapid City. We're older. Or something. I don't know.
Our mountains are so old they're worn down. That's not a good slogan.
The reason that is a running joke. It's like the 45th parallel T-shirt gag.
Yeah.
In our home here, that so out in the Black Hills of Dakota, there is a tourist attraction called
the Cosmos.
No. I'm gonna have to edit this part out because my
Rockerville.
My mind is going. Oh, I want to say Flying T, but it's not it.
Well, Circle
the
B.
Chuck Wagon. Fort Hayes.
Lake.
No, sorry.
Fort Hayes.
Hayes.
Yeah, because they have the Dances with Wolves shit. Stuff.
It's that one. It's apparently it's the one remaining Chuck Wagon show attraction in the hills. Fort Hayes.
Yeah, and that's a later one, really.
Yeah, I think that was an upstart. I think the other ones were there.
Damn kids.
So, for many years now, my sister Elizabeth has played fiddle in the shows up there.
Oh yeah, she brings the house down with her there. on the Devil Down to Georgia solo thing.
The Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a election to steal.
Not yet, hopefully.
Oh, sorry. Too soon.
Not yet.
Too late. Too soon. I don't know.
Not yet, Satan.
No, Satan hasn't.
Oh.
He's working on it. But.
You have to wait till December.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Jeez.
But so I think the first time we went up there, I said, yeah, we're going to go see Elizabeth's show at the Chuck Wagon. And it's a Chuck Wagon thing, and they do a kind of a cheesy country and Western show. And she plays in, and you get, but she somehow got the idea that it was like a supper club or something like that.
Oh no, it's definitely not a supper club.
Like it was like you sit down, have a nice dinner, and they have a show.
No, this is tin plates and shit.
Yeah, it's exactly
beans.
Like that.
I'll have to ask Jody what she thought when I first took her there. I'll do that later.
Yeah, and
we'll do a follow-up.
Her joke is like, you made it sound like it was dinner and a show.
Well, it is.
Well, technically, yes, it's food and some kind of entertainment, but it's not.
I mean,
So, yes, that's the origin of that, and I've been living it down ever since.
Well, normally when you go to a restaurant, they don't need to warn you to be careful, get the plate's hot or whatever, but...
Yeah, or those...
beans.
Those well, I wish the beans were hotter, but those baked potatoes are very... very hot. They're like molten bricks that they do, and I don't think anybody would argue with me. And
I don't remember the potatoes.
No, they give you a baked potato wrapped in foil.
Did they give you a different potato
that they smash
option?
on your plate with great gusto?
Oh, I don't remember that part. I just remember the beans and the slivers of beef.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's and you know what though, I hate to say it, but the quote barbecued beef, which is like these thin strips of the cheapest cuts of meat in a quote barbecue sauce.
Oh.
It's not good, but it's better than the chicken.
Yeah.
So
there's another title idea possibly.
It's better than the chicken.
Oh.
And yeah, no, the food is not the point, and it's
Definitely
not really a Chuck Wagon show at all. But
it's more like
a VFW band or something like that. That does.
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong; it was a lot of fun. But it's not like the Circle B or whatever else.
No.
I mean, that was like Sons of the Pioneers or something. I mean, they did all those old songs like Water, and oh God, it was wonderful. It was probably the same kind of food.
That stuff is very fun, but it doesn't quite have the crossover appeal of Lee Greenwood.
No. Sorry, I'm going to go old school.
Before I leave the Chuck Wagon, I'm going to...
This is going to be a weird episode.
So the other day, actually on Election Day, because I had the day off from work.
Election Day birthday.
For a commie. It wasn't my birthday, fortunately.
I know. Oh, well.
Commie university that gives us the day off. And I wanted something to do to make me avoid watching MSNBC all day.
Oh, and you don't have a hot tub yet.
I didn't, not yet. It's still on the ship. I sent away for it. No. So I decided a cooking project.
Oh.
So I decided to make Texas chili.
Oh.
In the vain hope that it would help Beto O'Rourke get elected. It did not work.
Oh.
Or it hurt him. I'm not sure which it was.
He should have.
Or maybe I just wanted some chili. I don't know.
Beto was better. It is chili season.
It's definitely the right time, and I'd never made it. So if you're not into chili, there's a lot of kinds, and the kind I usually make is like I would call Midwestern chili.
Oh yeah,
which has beans and tomatoes.
You gotta have beans
like that in it, and usually either ground beef or ground turkey or some other kind of thing.
Yeah, or
sometimes just vegetables, whatever. But the real thing that if you're in that part of the country, chili means basically chunks of beef in a gravy.
Yeah, it's not the same thing as I'm used to.
No, and I don't think they're really the same dish.
No.
And so I don't have a big conflict of which is better because they're just not the same.
They're so
thing.
different.
Yeah. So they share some of the core seasonings, but really they're different.
Yeah.
So I decided to make one from this outfit.
Try it.
This outfit called the Meat Church.
The Meat Church?
Yeah, it's a company called Meat Church. You can find them on the internet. This outfit in Texas, I think they mostly sell like seasonings and things like that, but they make a lot of YouTube videos with how to make barbecue things and all that. And
that'll show up for some reason tonight on my feed.
Probably will. It's listening. And I've tried a couple of their things and they turned out really well, but they had a recipe up a week or so ago for what they call Texas Red, which is...
Oh, I think you sent me that. I want to try that.
I'm sure I did. And
I know you sent it.
So basically, you just take, dried chili peppers, the ones you get in the Mexican food section.
Oh,
those really
I have a bunch of
ones,
those.
And you basically like toast them and soak them in boiling water so they get soft, and then you puree them with like a roux made out of oil and flour and all that stuff. And,
that isn't exactly what I have, but I might try it anyway.
Yeah, and you basically make that from scratch, and you cook that for a couple of hours in a Dutch oven with chunks of, like, I just use pot roast, but and all that stuff.
Oh man, I'm getting hungry.
And that stuff was really, really good.
Oh, Birdie wants some.
Yeah, she's hungry. I'm not sure what she's doing here, but she's very, very hungry for some chili, yeah.
Yeah, red chili.
What was? So the reason I brought this up, not just to make Phil feel bad because he doesn't have any.
I don't have any.
Is that one of they claimed on this YouTube video, so because we know it's true. Is that chili became? This guy claims chili became popular on chuck wagons.
Okay.
Back in the day, and because in all the ingredients on it were something that were not perishable, because they couldn't obviously carry stuff on these. The cooks couldn't carry anything that would go bad.
Right.
And so
hardtack.
It's all basically dried
rehydrating
things and things like that, and maybe certain kinds of oil or fat, and the meat, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Which you're out there, I assume you can get fresh.
Right. Hey,
and so
go
that,
over
but
there and
that's
get a
why
mongrel.
there weren't canned tomatoes or other things like that available. So that was kind of the origin of this particular version of chili, is that you could make it out there with just a bunch of dried things that you could carry with you without refrigeration or canning.
Okay. I'll buy it.
Chuck wagon. Yeah, it all comes back to the chuck wagon.
What was that little commercial with the chuck wagon, a little tiny chuck wagon? It would come through a hole in the wall, and the dogs would chase it.
Yeah, it was
dog
chow. I think it was dog chow, wasn't it?
Prina Dog Chow. And they had the little tiny...
great ad campaign. They should bring it back.
Little tiny stagecoach or something running
through
your living
room. It was a little stagecoach.
Yeah!
That would go...
Weird. What if I think they ended it because eventually the dog caught the thing, and the poor little thing, all the little people were eaten. Sad.
That's true.
On that note, Birdie says it's time to wrap up.
It's probably time for dinner. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that was fun.
Cool, dude. I'm going to stop recording.
Oh, okay. I don't know how.
And as always, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. As everybody else says that. Nobody ever does, but who cares?
I don't know. We get quite a few downloads.
We have downloads on Space Poop.
And here's the song!
You know, St. Paul is freaking cold, and your body's feeling old and slowing down. Then you hear a sound that makes you stomp in saw some of these dancers in Lollapalooza. Now they look like a Volvo driving crowd. But they love swing like a marching band loves. John, Philip, Susan. There's magic here that would make old Betty proud. Way down south in Lower Town, Old St. Paul. A man who smacks the bass with a suppleness and grace. That's Old St. John. The way he plays to change his friend, he can still get it on. The song don't move like it did when he worked retail, but he lays down the bottom of a tune with fresh detail. Old St. John's doing better than alright. Come on Saturday night and see Old St. John smack that bass. Johnny doesn't mind if he never bakes the seed. Hell, there ain't been no jazz scene for decades anyway. For a music-making man, this world can be pretty mean. Old St. John's gotta find day job and gigs to play. Gather round, people, is Old St. John. He lay down a groove and he'll be moving on. Drinking whiskey at the dog park at the end of the day. Sit on the park bench and watch the dogs play.